Hello and welcome to the modern HTML video course. My name is Konstantin and I'm working as a front-end developer for 8 years for now. The technology stack I'm using is the React ecosystem. I decided to make this course for people who want to start a career as a front-end programmer and didn't know where to start. Believe me, you are at the right place. I'm not a professional YouTuber or tutor or teacher. I'm learning how to teach people right now, but I'm a professional programmer, a front-end developer, and I'm sure that my knowledge and expertise will be valuable for you. Why learn HTML? If you are interested in learning front-end and web development, I'm 99% sure that you have heard about React, Angular, Vue frameworks because they are like buzzwords nowadays. They are very popular. But the thing is that it doesn't matter which fancy JavaScript library are you using, because they are changing pretty quickly. One library replaces another. And at the end of the day, each of them is producing HTML, which is rendered by the browser. And I'm 100% sure that any front-end developer or any person who wants to simply create a website should start learning from HTML. This is like the basis, the meat and bones of internet, and without understanding the principles of writing the good HTML, your, let's say, React code will not be good as well. At first sight, HTML seems overwhelming because there are so many tags, attributes, and then CSS and JavaScript comes. Pretty big thing. But the thing is that in my day-to-day job, I am not using all the tags, all the attributes, and to be honest, I don't know all of them by heart. I just don't need that. Instead, there are tags and attributes which are more important, more used than the others, and knowing of them will give you the knowledge how to use them all. So, I think that's enough for introduction. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let's start learning. Before start writing any code, we need to install some tools. The main tool of any programmer is the code editor. Of course, you can edit your code in, let's say, Notepad, but it's not convenient for a lot of reasons. I will not dive into them, it's just not for you. We will use very popular and very cool code editor, which is called Visual Studio Code. I'm also using it on my everyday work, and it's really awesome, packed with features, and the main thing that it is free. Alright, let's take a look. Just write into Google VS Code. And the first result will be the official page to download it. So it doesn't matter what operation system you use. You can use it for Windows, Mac, and for Linux. So just download it, install it, standard thing. Alright, I already have it installed. One of the main thing about Visual Studio Code is that there are a ton of different extensions, and you can extend the functionality of Visual Studio Code. Let's see. This is Visual Studio Code, and when you want to see the extension, you should click these squares on the left side. Alright, I have some of them installed. You will have nothing here, and we will for now we will install one extension, which I'm using all the time. It is called auto closing tag. So let's search it for it. Auto close tag. It's here, and the point of this tag is that when you are writing opening tag, it will write the closing tag for you. All right, let's install it. And now it is installed. And when we have it, This magic happens when I want to write some HTML tag. Boom! Closing tag appears automatically. You don't have to write it. It's really convenient thing and will speed up your HTML coding. Alright, I think that's it for code editor. The second main thing for every front-end and web developer is browser. You can use any browser you want, Chrome, Firefox, Safari. It doesn't really matter for this course. I will use Google Chrome, and the main difference how developer is using the browser from how user is using the browser is that user just watching the pages, the websites, and when we will develop our web pages, our HTML pages, we will use so-called developer tools. I will show you how to use it later in the course, but you can see it by hitting F12. So this is developer tools, and you can see the actual code of the page, or you can right-click on any element on the page and then click Inspect at the very bottom of the menu, and it will bring you in the code of the page, it will bring you to this particular element, and you can see its code, you can modify it, but I will show you this later in the course. At today's video I will show you a very useful extension for Visual Studio Code. It is called the Live Server. If you are a web developer, you know that developing websites can be a tedious process. Live Server is a lightweight development tool that helps you to quickly launch a local development server and will automatically refresh your website whenever you make any changes in the code. And then you don't need to every time save your code, then switch to your browser and refresh the page to see the changes. This extension is great for beginners because it is very easy to use. All you need is to open your HTML file in your Visual Studio Code, right-click on it and select Open with Live Server. The extension will launch the local server and open the website in your default browser. Let's take a look. Let's go to Extensions in Visual Studio Code and let's search for Live Server. Here it is. As you see, it's pretty popular, 31 millions of downloads. And let's install it. Alright, while it's installing, I would like to tell you that it is looking for changes in every file at your project, so you can change both HTML and CSS files, and this extension will see those changes and will update it in your browser, so you don't need to refresh it. Alright, it's installed and let's check it out. I'm not sure if we need to restart the Visual Studio Code, but let's check. Oh, we don't need that. So as you see, we can right click on the file and open with Live Server, or here in the right bottom this icon appeared, go live, and it will just run your main file. In this case it is index.html. Alright, so let's check how it's worked with this right click and selecting Open with Live Server. Okay, so now server is running. As you see, here we have some IP, port, and here it is our index.html. And now we can try to edit something in our project. And let's open it side by side just to see how it will update the page. And let's write here an H2. Okay, and let's save the file. And as you see, I didn't refresh anything, it's just watching our file changes, and when we hit save, it automatically updates those things. And let's check how it's working in CSS. So let's add a class, and let's say h1 test. Let's save it, and let's add a style with this class, h1 test, color red. Let's save it, and as you see, it turns red automatically and very fast. Okay, as you see, it is a fantastic tool which will speed up the process of your development, and you don't have to every time refresh your browser while you're making any changes. So install it and use it. Alright, that's it about extension for now. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! Today we will talk about the basic structure of HTML document and about the most used tags which you will find on almost every HTML page. Alright, let's try some code. Go to your editor, right click and click new file, and write there index.html. This will be our main page, and all the code will go there. Every HTML page have an HTML tag. All the code goes inside it. Inside HTML tag, we should also define so-called doc type. This just will show the browser the type of the document, that this is actually the HTML file. There are two main tags which should be placed inside HTML tag. Those are head and the body. Let's try them. Inside the body tag, you have all the code which user will see inside the browser. Inside the head tag, we will have quite a lot of meta information, but for now we will have here only one tag which is called title. Title is the text which will appear as the text on the browser tab. Let's write here hello HTML. Alright. And let's write some tags inside the body. Those will be heading tags and paragraph tags. Headings are like the heading of the page, the name of the page, the name of articles on the page, and so on. We are writing headings inside HTML with h1, h2, h3, and so on, from h1 to h6 tag. h1 is the most important, like the name of the page, the name of the website, and h6 is the least important. Okay, let's write here hello HTML as well. And let's write some subheading with h2 heading tag. And we will write here second heading. Now let's write some paragraph tags. Paragraph tags are written in HTML with just one letter P, the P tag. Some paragraph. Paragraph is just a chunk of text. You can have any amount of them on the page. Let's write another one. Alright, cool. Now let's save the file and see how it looks in the browser. Click Ctrl S. As we see, we have the main heading, h1 tag, the subheading, h2 tag, and two paragraphs. And here, the name of the tag says hello HTML. This is our title inside the head tag. Alright, cool. That's it for it. Hit that like button, subscribe, and happy learning! Hello, Konstantin here. Now let's take a look at structure of HTML element itself. As an example, we will use a p tag, the paragraph tag. As you see, every tag has opening tag and closing tag. The text which goes inside it, text or some other content, is shown to the user. User is not seeing those tags. Those are for browser to read the structure of the document. Almost every tag has opening and closing tags, but there are some of them which have only one opening tag. For example, image. I will tell you about images in the next video. Now let's go to the attributes. Think about attributes as some kind of properties of each tag. For example, let's add a style attribute to this p tag. To do that, you are going inside the opening tag, and we are placing attribute here, for example, style. And let's write here some style just to see how it works. For example, let's change the color of this paragraph. Color red. And let's see how it works. Refresh the page. And as you see, this paragraph turns red. So it's working. One of the two widely used attributes on every web page are class and ID. Classes are used for like proper styling, because for now almost no one is styling elements like that, writing style inside the text. The right way to do that is to have a separate external file of style sheets. This is the CSS file. Let's create it. Right click, new file, and let's write style, styles.css, and it will be our styles. And let's add here some styles. For example, let's style h1 element with a class of heading 1. And let's change color as well. Color, let's say blue. Let's save it. We need to somehow link our styles to our HTML page. How to do that? We are doing it inside the head tag. Here we can add the link tag. Link tag does not have the closing tag, and with this tag we can link some other files to our HTML file. Link have the main attribute, which is called href, and here we are defining what we want to link here, and these are our styles. And see how the Visual Studio Code is telling you that you have this styles.css here. So it's like Visual Studio Code is helping you there. And to tell the browser that this is styles, we should also add the rel attribute, and we're writing here style sheet. Alright, now CSS file is added to our HTML page, and then let's add the class attribute to our h1 tag. In the same way as the style tag at the paragraph, at the style attribute, sorry. Let's write here inside opening h1 tag, class equals to, and we need to apply the same name as in styles, heading 1. Okay, heading 1. And let's see how it works. Save the file, refresh the page, and as we see, it's working now. We can inspect and check it out as well. As you see in Developer Tool, we now have class attribute on h1 element and style attribute inside the p tag. And we also have in the head attribute, we also have a link to the style CSS. Alright, that was the basics of HTML tag structure and attributes. hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and happy learning! Today I'll show you how to add comments inside your HTML documents. Comments are some text or remarks which will not be rendered by the browser and shown to the user. Only programmer will see it. You can use comments in HTML just like in other programming language to explain some pieces of code, or just to comment out some sections while you're working on code and don't want to delete it and want to return to them later on. Let's see how it looks like in the code. Let's write h2 underneath and let's say some comment. Let's save it. And as we see, it appears. And let's comment it out. Comments in HTML have quite a strange syntax. Here we have, and it's like this one should be at the beginning and this one should be at the end. That's how we add in a comment. And now it will disappear. Alright. We can comment out single lines or multiple lines. Alright, let's write some text and another text and yet another. So we have a couple of lines of HTML code and we can comment it as well using the same thing, just at the beginning of the chunk of code and at the end. This is a comment too. And you can also add a comment even at the middle of HTML tag, like inside it. So for now we have a text, a heading of some, which is said some comment, and let's comment some text inside. So now we'll see only the word some. Alright. And there is also a useful shortcut inside the Visual Studio Code, and you don't have to type in all those symbols. You can just point the text which you want to comment and click Ctrl/, and it will add comment for you. And it's working also in other code files like CSS, JavaScript. The same thing, Ctrl/, and the comment will be added for you. And that's all I wanted to say about comments. Please hit like button, subscribe to the channel, and happy learning. Now let's see the image tag. It is a tag for just inserting images to our web pages. It has not a closing tag, it has just an opening tag and attributes. Let's see. Let's add one image after the paragraph. The image tag is writing like EMG, and just close it, and that's it. There are two attributes which we should add to every image tag. One is src, which stands for source. This is the link for our image. And the second one is alt. It stands for alternative, and it means that if for some reason image could not be loaded, then alternative text will be shown. So let's add an image to our project. I downloaded the image of a cat because I like cats and I'm a cat person. Let's add it here. Start typing, and as you see, Visual Studio Code is prompting this image to us, so we don't have to write it, and we are sure that src URL or link is the correct one. And let's add the alternative text. Let's say one cat image. And now let's see how it works. Let's refresh the page. And we see that image is showing on our web page. As you see, it's pretty wide one, and I would like to say that for images you should always add some styling to not to ruin your page's layout, because if you don't add any styling of image width, height, dimensions, the browser by default will render it like it's physical pixels width and height. So let's fix that. We will add, and let's get rid of this red paragraph. It's not too nice looking. Let's add a style for images. Let's add a class. Let's call it just image. And let's say width, we'll limit it to 500 pixels. Save it. Let's go to our page and we'll add a class to our image tag. Image. Save. And let's see if it fixed that. Alright, now as you see, the image width is limited to 500 pixels and it looks nicer. Alright, the next thing about image tag is that this src could be relative or absolute. Relative means that this image is somewhere in your project, like here in this just root folder. And the absolute path means that this src is like the full URL, so you can just use links from other websites to show images from it. So let's just copy any link of images from the internet, I already have one, also with cats. So as you see, it says HTTPS blah blah blah, so it's like the link to the image. And let's add alt attribute as well, and we will say to cats image, and let's see if it works. Alright, as you see, we have two cats here, and as you see, the width is not limited as well. So let's add a class as well here, class image. Alright, and now as you see, our images look much more consistent because they have the same width. Alright, I think that's it for images. Hit like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! In this video we will take a look at links tag. This is one of the main core tag of the internet because all internet pages are linked with each other with this tag. Alright, let's jump right into the code. I prepared a simple template which is said links, and let's add a link here. Link is just an A tag in HTML. Inside it is the text which is seen by the user. Let's write here first blog post. Let's imagine that we are developing a blog, and this link will be to the page with the first post. And the main attribute of any A link is href, which is actually a URL, a link to the page. I already created this page. It is called first post HTML, and let's write it here. First post HTML. It is a relative link because this file is inside our project, inside our root directory. It is not like external linked somewhere to the internet. Alright, let's save it. And let's go to this first post page. As you can see, here it is the simple template. It has a heading with first post about cats. Let's continue this from the image video. We have a paragraph here, we have an image, and let's add here a link which will redirect us to the main page. How to do that? href, and let's go to index.html. Index.html, and let's write the name of the link, return to the main page. Let's save it and give it a try. Alright, this one is our main page. This is a link to the first blog post. And when we are here, we see our first blog post page. And here we can see return to the main page link. We can click it and we return to the main page. That's the basic navigation on HTML pages with the links. Alright, great. Now let's see how external links work, or let's say absolute links. So you can, with href attribute, you can point to any page in the internet. Let's say here external article, and you can use like any link you want. Let's try just google.com. And let's see how it works. Refresh. Here we have the second link, and it will bring us to the Google page. Oh, alright. Alright, let's get back. One of the very useful features of the link tag is the target attribute. With the target attribute, you can, for example, say to HTML to open link in a new tab, for example. Let's see how it works. Target. And we have a couple of options. Visual Studio Code is showing this to us. And let's choose blank option. This is for opening the link in the new tab. Let's save it and try. And as you can see, the new tab opens. It's actually very useful for some external resources like Google or any other website which is not pointing to your website. Alright, we can have not only text inside the link tag, we can actually put there any elements we want. So we can put there images, text, or like, I don't know, a full article. So let's see how it works. Let's say article. This is the special semantic tag, which means an article. And let's write here, let's say h3, one more cat article. And let's bring here an image. Let's use the same one, black and white cat, alt, white cat. And let's bring all this inside the tag. And let's do actually external link here. And let's say target blank. And let's bring all this code inside the A tag. And let's see how it works. So, as you can see, we have the whole element, And this whole element acts as a link. And as you can see, here our cursor is like an arrow, and here it is the pointer, and that means that this is a link. So we can click on any place here and will be redirected to this link. Let's see how it works. Alright, works perfectly. And the last thing I wanted to show you with the link tag is some like special option. This could be a link not only to URL to the page, but also we can use it to write an email to somewhere to someone. So how to do that? Inside href we can write mail to and any email like something gmail.com, and here we can say mail me. And when the user will click here, user will be redirected to his mailing application and can send an email right away. So here we have this mail me link, click it. And now the mailing application opens. Here it is. So really useful thing for blogs or for any contact page, like just one click and user can send you an email. There are quite a lot of options. I will put the link in the comment for you to study them all, but for now let's end with this. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and happy learning. Now we will see the different options of text formatting. There are quite a lot of tags for different formatting in HTML, but we will take a look at most used ones. But before start writing code, I will show you the legendary website for generating dummy text, which means nothing, and could be used on website when you don't have an actual text. This is Lorem Ipsum, and it is existing for ages. Let me show you. Just write in the Google Lorem Ipsum, and the first link will be it. The main and the only point of it is generating the dummy text, which means nothing, and you can just use it when you don't have an actual text. Generations of web developers used and continue using it, so I encourage you to do so as well. Let's generate some dummy text. And let's copy it and use it inside our code. Here is the simple template. Heading is saying text formatting, and let's write a paragraph here with a Lorem Ipsum text. As you see, now it's in one line. It's not very convenient. To fix that, you can just highlight the code, right click, and here in Visual Studio Code we have such thing as format selection. Alright, now much better. Alright, now let's try some formatting. The first tag I want to show you is strong tag. This tag is used if you want to show to the user that this part of text is particularly important. It is showing in bold. Let's see how it looks like. Alright, here is our text. And here is our bold text highlighted with a strong tag. The second tag I would like to show you is M, which stands for emphasize. This is tag for presenting a text with some other mood, let's say, than the normal text. And we can display like a technical term or a quote or a phrase from another language. Alright, let's check how it looks like. It looks like M. And let's copy a text there. Let's see how it looks like. And it's here. It is showing as italic. If you want to really like highlight some part of text, there is a tag for it, and this mark tag. It will highlight the text like with a marker. Let's see. Alright, and here is our highlighted text with a mark tag. And the last thing I want to show you here is the block quote tag, which represents, for example, a quote from a book or another website. And it looks like that. Block quote. And let's put the text there. And let's see. Alright, as you can see, we have some sort of margin from the left side, and it actually looks like the quote in the book. Alright, I will put some more resource on text formatting tag in the description. Hit like button, subscribe, and happy learning! In this video I will show you how to add an icon to your website. The icon is a small image which is added to this tab which is showing here. For now, as you see, we have like a globe image, which means that we don't have an icon on our website, and we will add it now. As an icon you can use any image you want. I downloaded an image of HTML5 logo, nice, and let's add it to our site. The icon is added inside head tag in such a way. It is added with a link tag, and here we should use also href attribute to point to our image, and let's say here HTML5. And we should also define the type of the link with a rel attribute, and it will be icon. And that's it. That's it you should do to icon to show on the tab. Let's refresh the page. And as you see, now we have nice HTML icon in our tab. That's it for the icon. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and happy learning! At today's video, we'll take a look at such an important and widely used HTML element as lists. We should define every list of group or related items with this tag. For example, it could be a list of TV shows of an actor or a to-do list. There are two types of lists, ordered and unordered. An ordered list, it's the kind of list in which each element is have its own number, starting from the first one. And unordered just have bullets or like small squares on every element. Let's see how it works. Let's see first at unordered list. Unordered list is a tag of UL. It stands for unordered list. Alright, and we have unordered list and 3 items inside it. Each item is an li tag. And let's see how it looks in the browser. And as you see, unordered list, we have those small circles. Let's see at ordered list now. The tag for ordered list is OL tag. And for items, the same li. Let's see how it looks like inside the browser. And as you see, 1, 2, 3. We can also use nesting inside those elements, and we can nest it whatever we want. For example, we can have an ordered list inside an unordered list. Let's see how it could look like. Oh, I forgot to put L here. That's why it's not working as expected. Let's see now. And now it works as expected. We clearly see that this list is nested inside here. And vice versa, inside ordered list we can put an unordered list. Alright, and as we see, it's an unordered list inside here, nested. There are a couple of attributes which we can put inside list elements, but the most useful one and most used is the type attribute. With type attribute, we can, for example, change how those listing elements, like 1, 2, 3, or this circles will look like. And let's experiment a bit. And let's add to unordered list an attribute of type. And let's say square. And now circles should be turned out as squares. I don't know if you see it, but yes, those are squares, believe me. Oh, right, we can see it clearly now. And for example, let's change in ordered list. Let's change the type of numbers. For example, let's say A. And now it will be not the numbers, but letters. And as you see, we have letters here. We can also use like Roman letters if you want. Let's see how it could look like in ordered list. We can say type, and we have here a big I letter. And now we will see Roman numbers here. And as you see, it's working. Alright, that's it for list for today. I will put an additional resources for you to check it out. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and happy learning! And at today's video, we'll take a look at such an important HTML element as tables. Tables are used to show any table data in HTML. Let's see how it works in the code. Table is defined very logically by a table tag. And inside here we have a couple of more tags to define rows, cells, and table headings. For example, to define a table row, we'll use a tr tag. And inside here, let's add a header of the table. And it is defined by th tag. And let's add some headings of our example table, like name, email, and let's say age. That will be a heading of our table. And let's add some body or rows of the table. And let's define one more table row with tr. And table cells are defined with a td element. td, and let's have one more. Not one more name, but we should have here an email for this John. Let's have some random email, and let's give it an age of 20. Alright. And let's add some more table rows with the table data. 12. Alright, let's copy that. And let's paste it here. And let's change the data to Jenny 25 and Tom, well, let's have 30. And let's see how it looks in the browser. Alright, I think I made some mistake in here. Oh, THHT. Easy to make a mistake. Alright, let's fix that. Now it should work as expected. Alright. As you see, when we don't have any styling, this table is not look like much as a table. So let's add some basic styling. We have our styles CSS here linked to this page. So add some styles here. And we will say here that TH and TD, so table heading and table cell, will add some padding top 5 pixels, padding bottom as well 5 pixels, and let's add also padding left and padding right as well 40 pixels, just to add some room to our table. Alright, much better. And let's add some borders to it for this table to look like as a table. And let's say the table element, table header, table cell. And yes, we will have a border on 1 pixel black. Let's see how it looks like. Alright, now it's looking definitely as a table. And we can also style separate elements. Let's give, for example, table heading some different background color and some shade of gray. Let's see. Alright, much better. There are quite a lot of attributes on the table tag, and inside real project you will be for sure will style the table much more efficient for it to look good, and I will add some resources in video description. Please check this out, and for now this is it for the tables. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! In today's video I will tell you about the video HTML tag. You will use it if you want to insert the video on your web page without using any external JavaScript libraries, just a plain HTML. The usage of video tag is very simple, so let's dive into the code. You should have some video file to play around with the video tag inside your file system. I already added one, so let's write the video tag. The main attribute is src, as inside link attribute, just to define a path to your video file. So let's write here introduction mp4. This will be the source of our video. And let's add another attribute, which is controls. It will add the controls to the video on the page, just to let user to play, pause, change the volume or mute. Let's save it and let's check how it's look like. Alright, as we see, we have a video, we have a controls at the bottom, and we can click play. Hello and welcome to the modern HTML video course. And everything is working. A video tag allows a bunch of attributes. I will show you just a couple of them. For example, let's set the width of the video to some number to not occupy it the whole width of the page. Let's go to 700 for 700 pixels. And let's check. Alright, now it looks much better. And let's try another attribute, for example, muted attribute. And if you will have it, as you guess, by default when user will enter the page, the video will be muted, no sound. So as you see, the video is playing without the sound. Of course, user can turn it on. And I'm working as a front-end And the last attribute I wanted to show you here is an autoplay attribute. And as you may guess, that means that video will start playing when the page loads. Let's check how it works. Alright, as you see, video is playing. My name is Konstantin, and Alright, and that's it I wanted to say today about video tech. I will place the link in the description to much deeper tutorial. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and happy learning! In today's video I will show you how to use the iframe tag and how you can use it to place the YouTube video on your page. It is the next lesson right after one with a native HTML video tag, and the reason for that is when I was making websites for real clients and real companies. In most cases, all the videos on the page was actually served from the YouTube. There are quite a lot of reasons to do that, but there are two most common. Doing so, company is engaging users with its YouTube content, and there are chances that user will go to company's channel and will check out some other videos. And the second reason is that almost all users of the internet are watching YouTube, and we are all used to YouTube controls and its principles of working. Alright, now let's go to iframe tag. In general, iframe tag's purpose is to insert one page into another. Yes, like the whole page. There are a lot of technical details on how to do that and why, and it really depends on what you are inserting on your web page with an iframe tag and what you want to achieve with that. But in this lesson we will concentrate only on how to insert YouTube video on a page using the iframe. It's really simple. Let's dive into the code. And let's write iframe here. And as with video tag, the main attribute here is src to our YouTube video. And there are two parts of this URL. One part is youtube.com/embed. This embed means that you are inserting the video into some other page. And the second one is the ID of the video. If you go to any video on YouTube, this is an ID. Alright, so let's copy it. And let's paste it inside our code. And let's check out if it's working. Alright, it works. So now we have a YouTube video on our page. Without any styling, it not looks so pretty, so let's add some styling to it. I will show you one of the simplest way to make YouTube video responsive on the page. Alright, so let's go to our styles and let's add a class for YouTube video. Let's say YouTube video. And there are two things. The first one is width of 100%. That means that it will occupy the whole width of the parent element or so-called container. Why it's underlined? Oh, it's a misspelling. Okay. And the second attribute is an aspect ratio. And aspect ratio for YouTube video is 16:9. Let's save it, copy the class name, and apply it to our iframe class YouTube video. And let's check how it looks like. Alright, now as you see, it is wide at the whole page, and we can actually define the width of the parent element, and in most cases it is done, like for 1200 pixels or so, so it's not for the whole page. It is still working. And if we want to check if it's responsive, check this out. So it will be responsive for any page width. Alright, that's it about iframe and its usage with YouTube videos. Check the description for more information on iframes. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! At today's lesson we will take a look at audio tag. It is used to include audio files inside your web page without using any JavaScript libraries. Usage of audio tag is very similar to video tag, so let's dive into the code. Let's write an audio tag. The main attribute here is src, as in video tag, and let's point to mp3 audio file which I prepared. So let's write file example, and let's add controls attribute to allow user to control the playback. And let's see how it's look on the browser. Alright, here is our audio file with controls, and we can play it. Alright, everything is working. And as a video tag, audio tag also have a lot of different attributes, and let's check just a couple of them. It's also have autoplay attribute. And if we'll save, browser was refreshed automatically and audio just started playing. Alright, and let's check muted attribute, and then by default audio will be muted, and as you see it is now playing, but it is in mute. And let's unmute it. Alright. Different browsers could read different formats of audio, so you can define different formats to serve your audio file to different browsers, and you can make it like this: audio controls, and here you can use nested source tag, and for example you can place files in different formats. Here I have only mp3, but for example you can use this OGG format, or if someone have an outdated browser and it is not supporting audio tag, this text will be shown that your browser is not supporting audio element. Alright, that's it about audio tag. Check the description, I will place a link for more resources on that. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. In today's lesson I will briefly introduce you an input element. The input element is one of the most commonly used elements in HTML, and it's used to create form controls that allow users to input data. The purpose of the input element is to accept and process user input and to send it to the server for further processing. Now let's talk about different types of input elements. There are several types of input elements, but we will focus on most common ones since it's introductory video. To create an input element, you simply use the HTML input tag and set the type attribute to the type of input element you want to create. You can also set other attributes such as name, ID, value, and a placeholder. Alright, let's dive into the code. Let's start with the most common one, the text input. So let's write text input, and let's place here the label and the input. Label is, think of label like the name of the input or some text which is describing what this input is about, what is it for. So for example, in this case we ask user to enter her name. And we have a label here and the input of type text. We have such an attributes like an ID inside input and for inside label. This one should be the same for label and input, and in such a way they are like corresponding, the label with the input with this ID and for. Name attribute inside input is used for interacting this input with a form element. I will tell more about this later. And the value is just, you can define the default value of the input. Alright, let's save it. And here we have our input. And you can see we have here this John Doe default value. Right, let's remove it, not to confuse the user. And good practice is to add a placeholder attribute. A placeholder is just like a hint for the user what user should enter here. So let's write here, enter your name. Let's save it. And as you see, it appears like a grayed text and user just knows what she should do. And let's write here like Mike. Alright, this is the simple text input. There are really a lot of different types of inputs, and I will make a video on each one, which is important, but just to demonstrate how different input types could be, I will just copy paste some text, just not to write too much. And let's format the document. Oh, alright, it's not configured. Let's format selection. Alright, and here you can see we have a couple of different types of inputs, and as you can see they could be really different. So if we have input of type password, as you can guess, this is used for user to type in their passwords. And when user types here, there is this password is hidden, so those asterisks appeared, not characters, but this asterisk. And here we have radio buttons. This type of input is used when you want user to pick just one option, like male or female, or I don't know. I've seen I don't know option for this question, but never mind. And we have below we have a checkboxes attribute. When you want user of type checkbox, when we want user to pick a couple of different options. For example, if user like apples and bananas but don't like oranges, she could pick just those two ones. And I think the last input for this introductory video is the file input. It is used when you want user to upload some file, I don't know, some document or attachment. So if we are defining input of type file, there is a button, and when we click it, we can choose some file which will be sent to server. And as you see, the name of the file appears here. And all those functionality, all this behavior is inside the browser. So no JavaScript included in here. It is just the browser functionality. All right. In addition to those types, there are many other types of input element in HTML, such as color picker, range, date, time, and many more. But that's it for this very quick introduction for HTML input element. I hope you find it helpful. I will teach you about every input element in upcoming videos, and at the end we'll build the complete form, which we will send the data to the server. So stay tuned, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! In today's video I'll show you the usage of button HTML element. Button tag is used to create a clickable button that users can interact with on a web page. It's a very versatile tag that can be used in a variety of different ways. To create a button using the button tag, you simply wrap the text of content you want to appear on the button inside the opening and closing tags. For example, if you wanted to create a button that said "click me," you would write just "button click me," and that's it. As you see, by default, buttons created using the button tag will have a gray background and a border, but you can style it any way you want using CSS. One cool thing about the button tag is that it can be used in a lot of different ways. For example, you can use it to submit a form or trigger some code that makes something happen when the button is clicked. Let's check how it works. And to do that, let's write a very simple JavaScript script on a page. Script. And here we will write a simple function that will just console log some text. Function. Let's call it my function. And we'll not make an alert, we will make a console log. Button clicked. Alright. And to fire this function on button click, we should add an attribute to the button, which is called onClick. And here we will just run the function, my function. And that's it. When we will click this function, we will see in the console this text. Let's see how it works. Here is our console. Alright. It can be here, it doesn't matter. Alright. And when we click the button, the text appears. So button is working well. That's it for today for a button tag. It has a lot more functionality, and I will link more information on that in the description. So like my video, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. In this video we will covering two important input types in HTML, text and password. These input types are used to collect user data on a web page, and they play a crucial role in web development. Let's start with the text input type. This is used to collect just all the text-based data from users, such as their names, email, or message. To create a text input, we will use HTML element input with a type attribute set to text. Let's see how it looks in the code. And let's write input, type text, and let's also write here an ID. Let's call it text2, let's call it name. And let's give it also an attribute of name. I will tell you about this attribute later. And let's give it a placeholder attribute. This will be a hint for the user, what user should enter there. Placeholder, enter your name. And as you see, our text input appeared with our placeholder text, enter your name. And let's write another element which is associated with input element. It is a label. Label is like the text associated with input. It is like name of the input or something like that. And let's call it name. So as you see, we have like a simple form with one input and the label for it. To associate the label with this particular input, we need to use for attribute in the label tag. And this for attribute should be the same as the ID attribute of the input. So let's write here a name. And how we can check if this label is associated with the input? You can click on label, and as you see, the focus is appeared inside this input. And this is also very important when we are using a tab button on our keyboard to navigate forms. or when users are using screen readers. So yes, every input should normally have its label with 4 attributes associated with particular input. Alright, now let's dive into password input, and let's write here the second label, and let's call it password. Let's write 4 password, and input type password. We can define it, but by choosing the type of password. I can't use IntelliSense today. Normally I will just type everything by hand. And let's give it the same ID of password. And let's give it also a name, password, and also a placeholder. Enter your password. And let's make a break here, so our inputs will be on the different lines. So the main difference of password input is when user is typing something here, you can see actual symbols but just an asterisk, so it's important for privacy reasons. Just no one can see the user's password. Alright, and that's it about inputs of type text and password. I will link in the description for more information. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning! In today's video we'll take a look at input of type checkbox. So imagine you want to create a form on a website where users can select multiple options. For example, let's say you want to ask them which hobbies they enjoy: reading, playing games, or watching movies. To do this, you can use the input of type checkbox. A checkbox is like a small box that user can click to select or deselect an option. When checkbox is selected, a check mark appears inside the box. So let's dive into the code and see how it looks like. I created a form already with a button of type submit, and let's add our checkbox inputs. As you know from the previous videos, when we are using checkboxes, when we use any inputs, not only checkbox, we are using labels to name the input. And we can also put the input inside the label. So we can do it in this way. Inside the label, we are putting input. And let's give it a type of checkbox. The name, hobby, and the value, reading. So this value will be sent when we will submit the form. And the value which user will see on the screen, we are writing here inside the label tag. So we'll write reading. And as you see, we have a checkbox of reading. And let's create 2 more. Label, playing games, and let's put an input here. And please pay attention that when we are creating like the group of checkboxes, the name should be the same, because this is the parameter which will be associated with the user choice when we will submit the form. And let's set the third one, watching movies. The same name, hobby, and the value, just movies. And as you see, we have 3 options now to choose. So if you want them all, you can click them all. If you, for example, like just reading and watching movies, you can click only 2 of them. And let's check how it will work when we will submit the form. So let's open the developer tools, hit F12 on the keyboard, and we will we'll fake the submitting of the form, because we have this method post and action of submit PHP. We don't have the script, but the submission of the form will appear in the developer tools. So when we will choose reading, only reading, and click submit, here is our submission of the form, and in payload we can see that we have chosen only reading as a hobby. And let's try to do something else. Let's choose reading and watching movies, and let's submit. And as you see in the payload, now we have 2 hobbies, reading and movies. I hope this explanation will help you. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me in the section comment. And please don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my channel. Cheers and happy learning. At today's video, we will take a look at input of type radio. Input type radio is the type of input that allows user to select only one option from the list of options. It's like a multiple choice question where you can only choose one answer. Let's dive into the code now. I already prepared the form with a button of type submit, and let's write some radio inputs. Let's write label, and we will choose only one fruit now. So the first one will be apple, and let's write the input inside. Type will be radio, name will be fruit, and the value will be apple. The value is the value which will be submitted when user will submit the form. And let's add 2 more. The second one will be banana. Let's add an input. And the value will be banana. Pay attention that name attribute should be the same for the group of radio inputs. Because if the name will be different, it will be like different radio buttons. It will not belong to one group, like one choice. So the name in the group should be the same. And let's add the third one. And let's go with orange. Put type radio, name or name fruit, and the value will be orange. Let's save it, and let's see how it looks in the browser. So as you see, we have 2 radio buttons, and you can choose only one. And let's see how the form will be submitted. Hit F12, switch to the network tab, and let's submit the form. We have apple chosen. Let's hit submit. And inside payload, we see that fruit is apple. So this fruit key form is taking it from here, from the name attribute, and the value from here. So let's choose another value of banana and click submit. And as you see, now form is submitted with the chosen fruit of banana. Alright, I hope this explanation helps. If you have any more questions, write me a comment. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Cheers and happy learning! Hello, Konstantin here. At today's video we'll take a look at select HTML input. Sometimes it is called select box or combo box. This element allows users to choose one option from the drop-down list of predefined options. It is commonly used in forms for things like selecting country or state or a product from a list of available options. Let's write some code. And at first we will take a look at single choice select, because there is multiple choice select, but I will talk a bit later about it. So let's write a label, and we will choose the country. We'll add a for attribute of country, and let's now write a select element. So it is the select tag, and inside it we have an option tag, option tags for a single option. And the first option will be United States. Here inside the tag it is what user will see, but then we will need to define a value here with an attribute. So let's write a value of USA. And let's add two more options. Let's add Canada. With value of Canada. And let's add an option of Mexico. Alright. And when we clicked save, now you see that we have our drop down here. And let's add the second break tag just to separate our submit button a bit. Alright, and let's check how it will be submitted when we will submit the form. So let's see what will appear inside our network tab in developer tools. And let's choose Canada. Click submit. Wait a second. Oh, alright. I forgot to add an attribute to our select tag, so let's add an ID of country. And in that way we will associate our input with a label. And let's add a name of country. And as you see, if we don't have a name inside our input tag, in this case it is a select, if we will not have a name attribute, form will not know nothing about this input. So let's hit save. And let's try now. Canada, submit. Second, submit. Why it's not showing here? It should. Alright, let's refresh the page. Choose all inside here. Choose Mexico. Alright, now it's working. And inside payload, we are seeing our chosen country, Mexico. Let's choose another one, United States, let's say. Click submit. And now it is USA. Alright, there is another option of using the select tag. This is multiple option. So let's add an example. We'll have two selects on the screen. One is for single option, for choosing the country, and we will have multiple choice select. And the only thing you should do there is to add multiple attribute to select tag. I will just copy and paste the code to not write it. And let's see. Label is our interests, and inside select tag the only difference is that we have a multiple attribute here, and other things are the same. We have options with a value. Let's hit save, and as you see, it is looking not like the single option select. It's looking differently. And you can now choose a couple of options or all of them. And you can do that by just click and drag or just push the Ctrl and hold it and choose multiple values. And if we will choose a value here in the single choice select, and we choose a couple of options inside multiple select, click submit, and let's see. Alright, we have country selected, just one option, Canada, and we have 3 options selected inside our interests. So yes, you have 2 options here, single or multiple choice. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Cheers and happy learning. Today I want to talk to you about Textarea element. Textarea is kind of input which allow users to enter large amount of text into a form on a website. It's different from a regular input type text because it allows for multiple lines of text. Think of it as a bigger version of text input field, where user can type a message, a comment, or any long form text they need to input. Alright, let's write some example code. And let's start as usual with label. And let's write enter your comment. And we'll specify the for attribute. User message. And let's write a text area, which is defined by text area tag. Let's give it an ID of user message. And let's give it a name of user message. And let's save it. And now let's see, we have like a default text area, so we can enter a couple of lines of text. And let's add here a couple of attributes which are specific for Textarea element. Those are rows. Let's give it a 5. And calls stands for columns. Let's give it a 30. And as you see, our Textarea element gets bigger. So with this rows and calls attribute, you can specify the size of your text area. So let's give it a rows of, I don't know, 20. And as you see, we have a large text area here. Let's make a break here. And let's add a break here. Alright, and as you see, from the default behavior of the text area is that user can actually resize it. That's kind of cool feature. If user is entering a large amount of text, user can just specify how the text area could look like. But if we want to prevent this behavior, we can do that by the style attribute. So we can add a style and give it resize none. And after that, the size of your text area will be fixed. Alright, that's it for text area. Give me a comment if you have some questions. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. In this video, I want to talk to you about input of type number. This input is used to create the numeric type values. It is perfect for fields like age, height, weight, or any other numeric data you might need to collect from your users. This input is not allowed to enter text, only numbers. So let's dive into the code. And let's create label. And let's call it enter your age. Set a for attribute. And simply age. And then we'll add an input of type number. And let's give it an ID of age, name of age, Alright, and let's take a look at it. So as you see, you have those small arrows, and when you click here, numbers will appear. And when we entering numbers, they appearing in the input, but if we try to enter letters, you just can't do that. Alright, and if we will submit the form, we will see here that, let's try to make this from the beginning, our value is submitted. There are two attributes which are very useful in the input of type number. This is min and max attribute, so you can define the minimum and maximum range of your input of type number. So let's write the min of 0 and the max of 120 years. Alright, and let's then try to enter some value which is bigger than our range, 123, and let's try to submit. Submit. Alright, and here you see that browser is not allowing us to submit this form because the value is greater than 120. And if we'll enter the value in the range, form will be submitted. Alright, here's our age of 12. And that's it for the number input type. Thanks for watching. Check out my other HTML tutorials. And as usual, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. Today we will take a look at inputs of type phone and email. So, an input of type email is a field on a web page where you can enter your email address. If it's not valid, the website will give you an error message and ask you to try it again. So, let's dive into the code. Let's write a label of enter your email for attribute of email. Now let's write input of type email, ID, email, and the same name of email. Okay, let's save it. Let's add a couple of breaks here before the submit button. And let's try to write some nonsense text and try to submit. And we are getting an error that format of email is wrong. So if format will be okay, like this, form will be submitted without errors. Okay. And now let's take a look at input of type phone. Let's write a label. Enter your phone. And an input. The type of the phone input is tel, stands for telephone. Let's give it an ID and a name. Okay. And input of type phone is acting like not the same as email, because you actually can enter inside this input like any value, and by default it will allow you to submit the form with this value. All the point of this input is when the type is tel, the browsers will see that the type of input is a phone and will suggest you, for example, your phone number which you were entering on some other websites, or if we are on mobile device, it will, for example, will show the numeric keyboard when we will focus on this input. And for example, if we want to have some validation, just not to allow user to enter some nonsense and enter the actual phone number, we can add this validation with an attribute of pattern. So with this pattern, we can actually define with the regex, with a regular expression, what pattern should take like the phone number, how phone number should be look like. And for example, if we will enter like valid email here and try to enter some nonsense here, we'll try to submit, and we will get an error message that format is not okay. So in this case, we have the format of phone like 3 numbers, something like that. And now form will be submitted. And if we will make some small mistake, it will not work too. Okay, and one more small thing. If you, for example, want to make the field required, this is like very simple to do. There is just a required attribute, and then form will not be submitted if the field will be empty. Alright, that's all for now about phone and email input fields. Feel free to ask questions and comments, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. In this video we'll take a look at input of type date and time. The date input type is used to create a calendar control on a web page. It allows user to select a date from the calendar widget. Let's take a look how it looks in the code. Let's write a label, select a date. And then let's write an input of type date. And as usual, let's give it an ID and a name. And let's see how it looks. So, as you see, there is a really small chunk of code. And when we will click on this calendar icon, as you see, you have like full widget where you can choose the date. And this is like the functionality which is provided by the browser by default, so it's really handy. And then let's write some time input. So we'll give it a label of not select element, but select time. And let's make an input of type time, and as usual ID and a name. Alright, and as with date type, there is a widget appears and user can select the time or just write it from the keyboard. Very good thing with this type of inputs is that we don't have to use any JavaScript libraries to have all this functionality. So this is native HTML inputs, and if a user is using our web page from the phone, the native inputs of this mobile operation system, Android or iOS, will appear. So when user will click this input on a page, it's just native input of this mobile operation system will appear. I can't show you in my browser, but I think you get it. Alright, and there are a couple of more date and time type of inputs, like month or week, and it is working like the same way. You just specify an input and give it a type of month or week. So those one are very handy, and it is considered like the good practice to use native HTML inputs and not to use JavaScript libraries for functionality which is already provided by the browser. Alright, so that's it for date and time inputs. In this video, we're going to talk about file input type. The file input type is used to create a file upload button on a web page. This button allows users to select files from their local computer and upload to the server. So let's write some code. As usual, let's create a label. And let's say choose a file for file, and then let's create an input of type file, and let's add the ID of file and the same name, and that's it. Let's hit save, and as you see, we now have a button to choose the file to upload. So if we click it, then will appear just simple Windows Explorer, and we can select any file to upload. For example, I don't know, some package log file. And as you see, the name of the file appeared here. It's important to say that the file input doesn't actually upload the file to the server when we click Submit button. Instead, it will provide the path to the user to select the file. To actually upload the selected file to the server, you need to use some server-side technology like PHP or Node. And that's it for the tutorial. I hope this explanation was clear, and hit the like button, subscribe to my video, and happy learning. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about semantics in HTML. Semantics in HTML means using meaningful tags to describe the content on your website. Instead of using generic tags like div or span, we should use tags that clearly describe what the content is. Let's take an example. If you have a section that shows the list of articles, you can use section tag to wrap the bunch of articles, and the actual article content you can wrap in article tag. Using semantic tags makes the code more descriptive and understandable. It also makes the website more accessible to users with disabilities, because assistive technologies can better understand the content. And let's take a look at some semantic tags. Here we have W3 Schools website opened, and here is the page about semantics element. So here we have the list of all the semantics tags, and here we have basic example structure of the page. So at each of page header, we should have a header tag. We can include, for example, the main heading of the web page. For example, here in this example we have header, and inside it we have h1 with the name of the whole website, my blog. And we also have a nav tag, which is also semantic, and it means navigation. And here inside nav we have an unordered list with the links of navigation to the web page. And then we have the main tag, which is also semantic, and this is the main content of the website. And here we have a section tag with 2 articles, and here we have an h2 tag, which is the heading of the articles section, and inside each article we have h3 tag. So the structure of headings is good. And we also have an aside tag, which means just the content as you see here on this diagram. This could be if we have blog, we can have there some featured articles or the most popular articles, something like that. This is the aside section. And we also have the footer tag, which we should use for the footer of each web page, and we can also use this in an article, for example. Alright, In summary, using semantic elements in HTML is important because it makes your code more descriptive, structured, readable, and accessible. So instead of using like divs or spans, which are telling nothing to anyone, both to developer or browser or screen reader, you should use Semantics HTML elements to structure your pages as much as you can. So that's it for introduction to Semantic HTML. Please see the description of the video for more information. And please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. Today we're going to talk about such an important topic in web development as accessibility in HTML. What is accessibility? This means making sure that everyone, regardless of their abilities, can use and navigate our website. This includes people with disabilities such as visual, hearing loss, or some physical disabilities. It's important to make our website accessible because everyone deserves equal access to information and services on the web. So, how we can make our website more accessible? Here are some tips. Use Semantic HTML. I've described it briefly. This is very important for screen readers. Provide alternative text for images. For images, we can use the alt attribute to provide a description of the image. This helps people who are visually impaired understand the content of the image. We should use also the descriptive links. When linking to other pages, use descriptive text that explains where that link goes. For example, instead of using click here or click me, use read more about accessibility in HTML. We should also make sure that we have a proper color contrast. It should be enough between the text and background to make sure that texts are readable. And we can test our website using some online tools, for example, Wave. Alright, so here I have open HTML accessibility page in W3 Schools. I will leave the link in the description. And here we have some basic website which considered to be accessible. So here we have all the semantics elements such as header, main, and footer. We are also using the nav for navigation. We are using proper headings, only one H1 on the page and only one H2. Here we have an image with an alt attribute with each descriptive. And here we have a link to W3 Schools accessibility page. And we have a text in the link, read more about accessibility in HTML. This topic of accessibility of the websites is very big and pretty complex, so I covered just the basic of it. Please see the description of the video. I will paste some links with more information. And that's it for the introduction for accessibility in HTML. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and happy learning. Hello everyone, and welcome to the final video of this HTML course for total beginners. I hope you've enjoyed learning about HTML as much as I've enjoyed teaching it to you. Now that we've covered the basics, it's time to talk about what to do next. By now, we've covered the most commonly used HTML tags such as basic tags for page structure, links, images, headers, tables, lists, forms, and different types of inputs. We've also talked about semantics and accessibility. So what's next? My advice to you is to take what you've learned and put it into practice. Build your own first web page. But you might be thinking, where do I start? Well, I've got you covered. Bootstrap is a great framework for beginners, but not also to beginners, but to everyone to start with. Let me show you. The web page of the framework is getbootstrap.com. Bootstrap provides ready-to-use code that you can modify to your needs. I suggest you to go to examples page and use one of these examples to create your own page. There are some code snippets, really different ones, and you can start work on one of these and change the elements, change the CSS styles. And the main good thing about the Bootstrap is that you can really start fast, and this code is like good quality code. It is semantic, it is accessible, and CSS are really great in this framework. So how you can do that? Just download the examples. I already downloaded. This is an archive, so extract it, and let's see how it works. All right, let's make it smaller. All right, I will open just the whole folder of the examples I've already extracted. And here you have the whole bunch of folders. Every folder is this code snippet. Every of these code snippets is in the folder. So let's say you want to start with, for example, let's say, oh, I don't know, let's check in the code. For example, here we have this starter template, and we can open this HTML page. Don't be overwhelmed with all of this code. This is like boilerplate code, and you can work on what this code is doing, like on your own pace. The thing is that we can just open it and run it with our live server. Alright, and here is our starter template. And now you can just make your changes. So let's change this heading, for example. And you just searching for it. Here it is. But if the web page is really big, you can click Ctrl F and you will have this search box. And you can just type the text of the heading, get started. And as you see, we can find all the things we need really fast. And let's edit this heading tag. My first own website. And let's save it. And as you see, it is changed. So you can combine all those code snippets from the Bootstrap. They are really quality and well made. They are also responsive. So when we are using our website on a mobile, the layout is responsive to any screen resolution or screen size. And you got it right from the box while using Bootstrap, so really great thing. Alright, and while working on your own websites, you should also use some web pages as reference. I've already mentioned it when I was talking about resources, but I can tell you one more time because this is really important. One of them is W3 Schools. You have the whole bunch of tutorials on web technologies from HTML and CSS to all other stuff. And you have also the references of like all HTML tags, all CSS rules, and so on. And the second great page is MDN, Mozilla Developer Network. And here we also have the tutorials on HTML, HTML references. So you should use these two pages because this information is like all you need to know about HTML. Alright, I hope this course has inspired you to continue learning and exploring the world of front-end development. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more you work with HTML, the more you learn and the better you'll become. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in my next courses. Thank you.